Hi, I'm Keegan Worthington. I'm your host, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jack the Cake Carrasco. Again, we're coming to you live from the red couch, the red cozy couch. The biggest noses in Jiu Jitsu coming to you live.
Right there.
So we were talking kind of before we started recording, but I had to kind of stop us in our tracks just so we could get it on the pod. But we were talking about notes, and I had less notes for this match. I'll just say real fast. We're hitting Kaynan Duarte versus Nicholas Meregali is the match we're doing, who's number 119. I had less notes for this match than I did the previous match, which was Mika Galvao versus Kenta Iwamoto. Nailed it that time.
Nice.
But I have less notes for this one, but Jack had more notes for that. Is there a reason you feel like you had more notes for this one?
Honestly, I think because there was fewer important moments in the match. So my brain kind of deep dived into those sparse moments. Because a lot of this match is just hand fighting on the feet. So in the 2 to 3 engagements, my brain just kind of overanalyzed everything that was happening.
Yeah. So before we actually get started on the match, what did you know about these athletes going in, and what did you expect from this matchup when you first saw it?
Obviously I knew Meregali is a monster in the gi, and would bring, even though he has transitioned to no gi, I definitely noticed watching him in ADCC that a lot of his guard game is still kind of gi oriented. Even though he doesn't have lapel grips anymore. And Kaynan, I know, is just a gorilla and very strong and has the ability to kind of just bulldoze through people, which he's not able to do here. But
he tries.
He tries.
He very much tries, which we'll get into too. Me going in, I knew who Meregali was. Meregali was probably one of the first guys I ever watched in jiu-jitsu, match study-wise. Just because I remember when I was a white belt, just going on Reddit or something and saying, I need tall, lengthy guys who have a good guard, right? And I'm not as big as Meregali, but just seeing how he uses his legs and his guard game, the triangle, and then that loop choke, is my favorite gi submission of all time, because it's just, I'm sorry, it's so effective, and it's so energy efficient. It's one of the best gi chokes out there. But I fell in love with his game, so I started watching him a lot. Kaynan kind of flew under the radar to me. He was a guy I couldn't really put my game after, because he was just such an athlete.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Meregali isn't, but people will understand if you look at these two guys and their styles, how they're different. But Kaynan is a great athlete. I had to look it up before this, some history. These guys had gone against each other 4 times before this.
Really?
Yeah, so they had 4 matches before this in gi. This is the first no gi meeting. And they had split all the wins. So it's Meregali, I believe, lost referee decision to Kaynan. Next time they fought, Meregali won by choke. And then Kaynan won by points. And then Meregali won by points. So it's they just split wins.
Yeah.
But going into this match, I thought my outside going in, I knew Meregali was good, but I thought Kaynan was just going to run through him, kind of. Man, did I look stupid. Even though I love Meregali, man, did I look stupid. So, do you want to get started?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'm going to be doing, when I'm saying mark in, I'm going to be going off the time that's in the match from here on out, because I had some comments about the confusion about finding on the video. So we're going to go off the match time from here on out, instead of the actual video time linked. So if you find it via a different link and stuff, it'll be more accurate. All right, so we're going to go off match time starting now. So you can just let me know if you notice anything. I'll say Kaynan just comes right out of the gate.
Yeah.
I don't know who gave him Red Bull, who spiked his Red Bull before the match, but he definitely
Probably Andre.
yes, he definitely came out with a message. Like, and if you look at how much he's moving too.
Yeah, he comes out very active feet, very active hands, slapping on collar ties, trying to get arm drags.
And this comes in later in the match too. We're at like the 14:25 of the match. So this comes into later on, but how much more explosively moving Kaynan is. He's hopping.
Yeah.
He's jumping. He's doing outside collars, looping, like he's always just moving, right? But Meregali is just steady, just planted.
Yeah, Meregali's very planted, kind of just almost like plodding forward, which over the course of the match ends up being beneficial for him because kind of conserving energy as this goes on.
And even the single Kaynan's going for, I'm pausing, around 13:40, 6. Kaynan this is an explosive way to get your single. Like he's lifting him. He's like really lifting and putting all his power into it.
Yeah, like it almost goes for like a blast double, grabs the leg, and like just deadlifts the leg.
Yeah, and it's most of the time that's how I like to finish single legs and stuff. But I'll be honest, when we're rolling in the gym, we're rolling 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This is a 15-minute match. And these guys are 230, 240 pounds or something like that. So very explosive, not energy efficient. He's, I think, coming out really trying to send a message to Nicholas Meregali that he wants this win. He's trying to out-aggression him, obviously. Anything else you want to say so far?
No, it kind of came out very heated.
Yes. Yeah, he's just defending the single leg now. He gets him down. And this sequence around 13:26, I'm going to hit into slow-mo, like 50% speed. So we can just talk about his guard play a little bit. I think right away, Meregali plays a much different guard than most in Nogi.
Yeah.
He is immediately going for like reverse De La Hivas, throwing his legs on the inside. He doesn't go for butterfly hooks. He's not a butterfly guard player.
Yeah, it was one of the first things I noticed watching this is that his guard game, even without a gi, feels like a gi guard.
Yeah. Which is honestly kind of funny because it's like most people would say that kind of gi guard is ineffective. But at the same time, he almost makes it work because people don't play it.
Yeah. Like that off balance there that he does. I noticed he did that a bunch in ACC. That kind of from reverse De La Hiva, he like pulls the foot towards him and extends his legs as like an off balance. Which I don't really see the people doing.
No.
In no-gi. And it obviously a very effective off balance for him.
You know, now thinking about it, the only person I actually see do these kinds of things in no-gi is Charles Oliveira. You know, and that's not necessarily no-gi, but that's MMA. And he's like, it's kind of like an old school way, but it's like, I mean, he's really able to push the person away. And it's more simple than I think we like to realize. Like just getting a De La Hiva hook and then putting your foot on the hip and just pushing away while pulling the ankle forward is so powerful. And we sometimes just forget it exists. Right. We're at the 13:10 mark. Yeah, there we go. Kind of pushes right back into him, controlling that inside leg. Meregali just keeps pummeling his leg onto the inside. Yeah. Throw it back into regular speed. Yeah, Kainen's having a hard time passing. He's trying to go for like leg weaves, but Meregali's just not accepting it.
And so, because he's having a hard time passing, he then essentially says, "Fuck, I try a leg lock," and goes back on a leg here. It's
We're paused at 12:46, but
I have it in my notes a couple times here that this sequence and the sequence at the end, he, I think, could have found success here, but he favors a sequence or like a way of attacking the leg that I feel like is very wrong.
stupid.
What this match is.
You say wrong, I say stupid.
Yeah, very stupid.
Well, and I think this goes into his background though, is he's not a leg locker.
Yeah, he's not a leg locker. So it felt like a very strange game plan for him, and obviously something he's not like super familiar with. Like in this sequence, he goes for like an ankle lock. So he first tries to throw the Reap over the top, and Meregali blocks with his arm, and so he goes to like a butterfly ashi with his foot on the inside, and keeps his Achilles grip the whole time, trying to like rip an ankle lock on him, and then Meregali kind of forces him to like outside ashi, which allows him to just kind of like squash in and then deny both of his hooks or both of his grips.
I think the failure of this leg lock actually starts at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because he falls back on this leg. So if you go back to like the 1240 mark and you really pay attention, when he drops back on this thing, he he gets a really high grip. Like he's on the calf.
Yeah, his grip starting is like midway on his shin.
And I'm sorry, like sliding down, like he's even already trying to crank. It's just
he's putting power here, and it's like halfway up. Shin.
Yeah,
and he has big, he has long shins.
Yeah, yeah, it's nowhere deep enough.
No,
and I think that's where the failure is too, and you see it. Like he's able to, even here where he has the most amount of time to finish it and the most extension. If you can see his arm here, if you can see my mouse, we're at the 1240 mark if you're watching, or if you're listening. His arms are near his hip. He needs to pull his arms up to his chest and get that leg more behind his back and up into his armpit and higher down on the ankle. Like this, where your arm is like a diagonal across someone's like ankle, it's not going to finish someone who's stubborn.
No.
Like even if you get down to the ankle, there are people that are still stubborn. But this,
especially in like a high stakes tournament like this or match, like he's not going to tap that.
I guarantee, like Meregali's like. I don't want to be mean, but like I don't think Meregali was even close to tapping. Like they're saying like, oh, he might have this on the commentator, and I'm like, no
shot.
Yeah.
And also, so if you back it up like 2 seconds here.
Yeah.
There's a moment right around in this sequence, right about here, right? What Kaynan should have done in that moment is try to reap to Meregali's right.
Okay, yeah.
Right. He kind of allows Meregali to push his legs further to like outside ashi. Where you can see like because of the nature of this moment, like Meregali's heel is exposed. Like his foot is off the ground.
Yeah.
If Kaynan even inverts this way, right, to his right, he could potentially catch the heel. If he reaps over the top, he could potentially catch the heel. But he's so hell-bent on like an Achilles grip for some reason. Just a very, very bad game plan.
And I maybe it just also is just says something about their history too, as athletes. Like again, Kainen's not a leg locker. I don't think he does these reps in the gym, and I don't know, but like based on this, that's what it feels like to me. Like, and I would make the argument probably why Kaynan went for this leg lock is because he has more experience in nogi than Meregali, and he expects Meregali's leg lock game to be even more rudimentary, and it's really not.
It's really not. It's like, to me, that reads as like a very bad strategic plan.
Yeah.
Of not realizing that, like, while Meregali is like new to nogi, that his camp is Donaher.
Yeah.
So he's not gonna have bad leg lock game.
He kept out of a leg lock exchange of Craig Jones for like 20 minutes at ADCC, like,
and a much more complicated leg lock exchange.
Oh yeah,
false reap, like reattack,
inversions,
like a bad Achilles lock.
Yeah, and I bet he encountered a lot of these coming up in gi competition too.
Yeah,
like I guarantee he's dealt with straight ankles before, and even if he probably has let a few snap and still won competitions, like knowing Meregali's energy. But yeah, I'm gonna throw it back into regular speed. But yeah, he's at 12:36 of the match, and then he's just pressuring down on him, and then he starts entering like his passing, and Meregali's passing looks immediately different than Kaynan's, right? Because Kaynan is going for butterfly like guards and hooks versus Meregali's, which is outside, like De La Riva's. But this works, I think, why Meregali is known for being really good in nogi is he just pressures forward.
Yeah, really heavy hips, has a
floats.
Great ability to float and like spread his hips down.
And he's he's thicker than a Snicker. Like,
yeah,
he might not look it sometimes, but the guy's heavy.
Yeah, he has almost kind of like a deceiving body type.
Yeah,
where he looks very long and lanky, and then you remember like, oh, hey, he's 230 pounds.
Is there anything you wanted to say about this wrestle up at all, or do you really care?
Actually, yeah, I did have a note here.
This is at the 12-minute mark, yeah.
Which is the single leg that he starts this whole sequence with, right? And then this single leg to get up here. I have a thing in my notes of wrestling precision versus wrestling volume, right? Because there's kind of an odd theme in this match where the first takedown initiated is by Kaynan with a single leg that he finishes almost immediately, right? Scores a takedown. So his single leg is obviously good, right? And he has the ability to take Meregali down with a single leg, which I think Meregali recognizes. And so when he comes up on this single leg from guard, Meregali's first instinct is disengage and detach, right? Instead of trying to like counter wrestle him.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the match, as we'll get into, Meregali snatches a bunch of singles, doesn't finish a single one of them, right? There's a weird wrestling discrepancy here where Kaynan has the ability to finish a single and then doesn't go for another one the entirety of the match.
Yeah. I do have something in my final takeaways about it, and I think it's actually a huge topic, and it's just going to be, and I wonder how much time we're going to spend on it, because once I bring it up, it's just like the new wave style of wrestling.
Yeah.
Which I don't necessarily want to go over here, but we'll go over at the very end. But they have a very distinct style of wrestling, and it's the game plan Meregali does throughout this. But yeah, like Meregali kind of never comes back to this single.
Yeah, he never comes back to it. Even though he scores a takedown immediately and obviously puts like significant threat on him with like wrestling up from guard, because Meregali immediately detaches and like just gets away.
But Jack, it's hard. We're not looking in the mind of this. We're trying to look into this mind of this athlete, and I'm saying from this face,
yeah,
that I'm seeing right now at the 12-minute mark, like, my reasoning probably is he's thinking long term, I can't keep doing this because it's so exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah. and then they break up and they re-engage. And they do this throughout the match. I'll just bring it up here. Notice how Meregali is always favoring the inside collar tie, while Kaynan does this looping outside clubbing collar tie. Right? The inside one, a lot more efficient.
A lot more efficient. And it's what allows Meregali to keep snatching single legs throughout this match.
Yeah.
Right? Because his arm's on the inside, so all he has to do is drop it, and it's on the leg.
Yeah.
Which, again, feels like a weird game plan for Kaynan, which, has a very good blast double, has a very good single leg, and then keeps looping these overties on where his arm can't get to the leg now.
And I think I'll talk about this too. Also, if we notice anytime Meregali is, I tell this to all beginners. We're at the 11-minute mark. I tell this to all beginners that have no idea how to wrestle, and they're just starting out. Look how Meregali keeps his lead arm is completely next to his knee whenever it's not being used or engaged. Like that lead arm immediately comes down like almost to his knee to guard that leg.
Yep.
Ready for an underhook. Super basic. But yeah, again, Meregali just plotting, energy efficient, inside collar ties. Right? Kaynan, explosive movements. Really trying to get reactions.
And another interesting thing too here is to kind of go off of the point you just made, where Meregali keeps his lead hand down by his leg, and he's reaching with his rear hand for collar ties. But once he makes contact with the collar tie, he's then stepping that leg up for his lead leg, right? So one, it immediately puts forward pressure into his collar ties, and as the match goes on, allows him to immediately just drop down to a single, because now he's in that kind of open position with his legs.
And at that 10-minute mark, they announced that Kaynan is leading the match. If there was a decision, they announced red. Because I'll just reiterate, pausing that at 9:30. And who's number one? They announce every 5 minutes who would be winning the match if it were divvied up into rounds, right?
Yeah, they do like a judge's favor.
Judge's favor. So like the athletes know whether they need to pick up the pace, or whether they're losing, whether they're winning. Add some incentive into the match so there's no confusion.
Right.
Which I actually kind of like. I think it's a pretty cool. It's like open scoring. I think it's a pretty cool idea. I like it. But I think as soon as you see that red, Kaynan then just picks up his pace again. Like it gives him some confidence. But Meregali just straight forward, composed the whole time. You don't really see. You see his intensity change, but it's very a steady, like linear. It doesn't go up and down. It's just linear. All right, starting up again at 9:30.
Yeah, I'd say very measured.
Yes. And a lot of probing sweeps. And there we go, around the 9:20 mark. Kind of goes in for kind of like a bad double from range.
Yeah, just like almost kind of hinging at the hips. Like just, I'm going to grab you. Nope. Okay, didn't work.
Yeah. But that's why that arm's there by Meregali. Like at the 9:20 mark. That's why his arms are low. Boom.
Yeah, immediately blocks it. Okay, I'm fine.
And it probably took no energy. Meanwhile, Kaynan's using a lot of energy. Recentering around the 9-minute mark. Showing the new wave crew. Jesus, how big of is his corner?
It's like 6 guys.
That's allowed? All right. You want me to pause it?
I suppose you can if you want. So there's a point here that I want to make about volume and like defense, right? So in the first sequence, when Kaynan snatches the single, his like outside hand is on the inside of the knee, right, to like hold the single up. And it's when he goes to run the pipe that his second hand connects and he like finishes the takedown, right? So, but in that opening sequence, Meregali's hands are never on Kainan's hands, right? He's like has like a collar tie and like like on his tricep, right? So he never addresses Kainan's hands in that first sequence, so Kainan can just connect them and then run the pipe, right? Whereas in every single that Meregali snatches up, Kainan immediately puts both of his hands on Meregali's hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is like a difference in defense where it allows Kainan to like effectively defend all of these singles because he immediately addresses the hands, pummels his foot out, and is able to detach, right? So there's an interesting dynamic here where Meregali is picking up a lot of singles, but they're not able to finish any of them.
Yeah, around the 940. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, immediately find the hands. I would make the argument though. I don't think Meregali is necessarily scared to not get a single. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, it's kind of almost like kind of part of his game plan of I'm just going to keep throwing attacks out at the same intensity level to make you work.
Yeah, it's just to make him work. We're back at 8:33. The match kind of had just gotten out of the single.
And I see Meregali starting to double up on collar ties, putting a lot more weight through Kainan's head.
Kind of goes for a foot sweep around 8:05 mark. And then Nicholas picks up another single around the 8-minute mark and the same kind of thing. Right. Pretty sure. Picks it up.
Picks it up immediately on the hands. Pulls the leg out.
Recentering at 7:55. Yeah. Again, it's just inside versus outside. Over and over again. And it's just strange to me that Kainan never seems to adapt. I don't know if he actually thinks he's winning.
It's a very confusing match to me because as Meregali starts picking up this pace and picking up more and more singles, you would think that Kainan would recognize like, okay, he is doing this because his hands are always on the inside.
Yeah.
Right. And yet he keeps looping these overties on.
And he doesn't
the rest
fight
of the
for the
match.
inside.
Yeah, he never fights the inside. He loops these overties on and then doesn't repummel. He just keeps an overtie.
We're gonna slow it down and go to the 7:30 mark because Nicholas gets a single and then he trips him, kicking out that back leg. It doesn't it puts Kainan down, but he's not able to establish a top position. Boom, throws him down, but Nicholas doesn't even chase him.
Yeah, he doesn't even chase him. He sees him land and almost just kind of like resets himself.
And again, I think that's just also just just reconfirming his game plan. Just put him down, pick him up, put him down, pick him up, put him down. And his long game is just and this is just a part of the new wave. Just new wave guys. We're just gonna outwork you until you quit by being as efficient as possible.
Yeah, they very much have a game plan of attrition.
Yes. And now we start seeing Meregali going for underhooks more and more.
Now he's swimming that underhook hand in.
Which is what I think he wanted the entire time. He didn't want any of the singles, personally.
Yep.
I'll take them, but the main game plan is to get behind Kainan.
And if you think about it as well, I think part of that game plan is he picks up singles from like halfway through the match to the end of it, which starts instilling this reaction in kind of, okay, when Meregali gets a collar tie, he's gonna pick up a single, so I want to get my legs back, right? I want to get the lead leg back, which then allows Meregali at the end to swim in for a very easy underhook because now Kainan's leaning all his weight forward.
Yeah. Yeah. We're at the 6-minute mark. And Kaynan is getting more and more heavy on his toes, just leaning forward. Meregali's picking up a single at 550. Pushing him. Doesn't need it. Walking back. Again, I don't need this single. I'm just gonna walk back to the center. We're gonna get more aggressive. And this is what I was talking about constant and linear his pace, because his pace has gotten faster. Like it's going up and up and up while Kaynan is slowing down. Picking up another single at 520. It's for another trip in the back leg. Then they break. And I love this just because it's so cocky. Because then they do the announcers around the 5-minute mark, and Nicholas declares that he's the 1 minute winning right here. He even points up, says, "Yeah, I'm winning this judge's favor." At the I don't know. I kind of love that because he knows he's outworking him.
Yeah.
And I think that discourages Kaynan.
Yeah, I think once that moment hits, especially since the fatigue has already been setting in, I think Kaynan kind of recognizes like, okay, I'm definitely losing this. I need to do something pretty drastic in order to win this.
Which I think actually leads to why it ends the way it does. So again, hand fighting around 4:11 mark. Doubles up on a wrist. And then I think this is where he's like, all right, now I'm going to start looking for back attacks, arm drags, getting around, collar tie, like deep underhooks. Yeah, around the you can see how tired Kaynan is, just around the 3:55 mark. He just kind of runs at him, runs to try and get a single, and he just gets stopped right in his tracks. So this ending sequence goes by actually really fast, right? This whole sequence, yeah, we'll go through it.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, but we'll have to probably watch it a couple times, or put it in slow mo. But all right, there we go. So getting this original underhook at the 3:35 mark, you see him go for it once, and then he immediately just does it again because I think he feels it. He's like, okay, I'm gonna get this next one.
Yeah. Okay, he's exhausted. I can just
that first one, he's like, all right, well, I'm just going to do it again. And then gets around him.
Yeah. And so there's a point here that I wanted to make about this takedown from the back here, which is that Kaynan does something here that I personally think is kind of stupid. So when Meregali goes to this rear body lock, Kaynan, it's a very odd play. I think they show it from another angle later. He kind of grabs Meregali's outside leg, almost looking for like a victor's roll, sort of, but then rolls like over the wrong shoulder.
Yeah.
Where it's a very odd sequence where like it almost seems like he's gonna Granby. And almost seems to see the victor's roll, but then doesn't really do either of those.
Yeah.
Also, like doesn't have a grip on the leg. He like rolls before he gets the leg. Yeah. It's a very strange move on his part.
Yeah.
And again, kind of from the beginning of like, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna try to grab a leg. even though he's not really a leg lock guy.
Yeah.
So it's a very strange game plan from Kaynan.
Yeah, and I think right here he sees the leg and just reaches between. Which I don't want to roast him too bad because I've been doing this.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't. I'll be honest. Like a lot of people say, you can take the back off the outside ashi, but I've been reversing it, where it's like I see that leg and I just pull it through, and then just find myself in an ashi and then try to work out that way.
And to be fair, he's able to get a pretty deep bite on this leg,
but he doesn't do anything. He doesn't go off of it.
Yeah, and I do actually. Yeah, we'll play a little more here. I do have a note here about I think why he's not able to get this leg. So initially he does have like a pretty decent bite around Meregali's lower leg.
We're at the 320 mark. Just a heads up, yeah.
Which allows him to get a little bit of extension on it as they kind of sit up. But as Meregali sits up, he's able to kind of spoil that leg back and put weight on it. And Kaynan, I think at first is still kind of around Meregali's lower leg, and then it eventually is forced to kind of be around his knee, which is like very not good for where he is.
Yeah.
There's a very particular grip in this sequence that he kind of misses. I think if you play a little more forward here, he's still around the lower leg a little bit. Almost gets extension here, but like not quite.
And then this horrible.
Yeah, this horrible grip on Meregali's part, where he like almost kind of has an arm triangle grip on him.
Which I don't know if I do this. I might naturally do this, but it's something I'm taking home. Like this is one of the number one things I saw in this match where I'm like, okay, technically I'm taking this.
Yeah.
Just looping around, like, and I have the arms for it too.
Yeah, especially
like I have the arms for it. Just an S grip there and just cranking all your weight down. That's horrible.
Yeah.
It's got to be horrible. Yeah. 312 mark. Check that grip out. And I think that's the grip that like wins this whole exchange.
Yeah.
Because he cannot extend.
Yeah, he cannot extend. And also because in that moment, the extension he's getting is Meregali's knee is pointed towards him.
Yeah.
Right. Which, even if he did take him like to a hip, is not a good angle in that leg.
Yeah.
Right. He wants the knee pointed towards him, not away from him. Right. So here in this moment, Kaynan is his lower arm is. I actually didn't catch this the first time I watched this. Is under his own leg, which is very bad.
That's horrible.
It's a horrible grip. That hand should be above his knee and underneath Meregali's knee. And he's kind of missed the moment here. But what he should be doing for this kind of like outside ashi sequence is bringing that top hand to Meregali's heel. And like physically grabbing his heel and taking it in an arc up towards his own head, which will extend the leg, but in a way that points Meregali's knee towards him.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to scoop and like bridge through it.
I'll be honest. I've watched a lot of Meregali, and Meregali finds himself in this position quite a bit. Yeah. He knows what he's doing here.
Yeah. So right here, he kind of misses this grip here, right? He gets to around the knee and keeps trying to just kind of bridge and pull through it instead of reaching that top hand through the ankle.
Oh, and bring it
arc. Yeah.
Yeah, bring it around. But also I think what makes it hard too is he doesn't get that grip, but also I'm pretty sure Meregali's body locked right here.
Yeah, to be fair, Meregali's body locked and Kaynan is incredibly fatigued at this point. And Meregali's leg-lock defense and his passing are kind of combined here, and both of them are very good.
Yeah, and I'd say he's making a career on his leg lock defense and passing off no-gi people, just going for leg locks on him. because they go, oh, he's not a no-gi guy, so I'm just gonna leg lock him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right.
It's like, okay, I'm taking him out now.
And then what I was talking about before about losing kind of the match is won now.
Yeah.
I think like here it happens so fast, but I'm sorry. I hate doing it, but like I think this is where Kainan's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I hate calling people quitters, but he kind of quits here, and he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to get up.
Yeah, get up, get my own takedown,
Get a submission.
get a submission in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and he's exhausted.
While he's exhausted, and Meregali is pinning him.
At the 2:30 mark, just takes him out. Immediately stretches the arm up. Doesn't give much resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, to Kainan's credit, in this arm triangle sequence, he probably does like one of the better escapes. Like this, trying to connect his hands and like a bridge his elbow down, but it's already way too late. He's exhausted, and he gives it like one try, then it's like, okay.
He gives it one try. I'm trying not to be a hater here, but
Yeah.
dude, it is literally on. He barely gives it any choking pressure, and he taps him within a second of actually locking his grip, like a second. And I get it. You're not gonna win, but
Yeah. And also, to be fair, Meregali obviously still has a lot of energy in the tank.
yeah,
And
obviously,
he's a really big dude.
yeah,
So in that sequence, I'm sure that felt like incredibly tight.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the match has just ended, and he's walking around pounding his chest, doing the money sign,
throwing dollars
just
around.
throwing dollars around. Yeah, they're doing the replays now. It's funny because I'm gonna talk about it in the takeaways, but I gotta talk about it. Like, it's weird how Marigali's body type is so weird to me because he doesn't
He's a very weird looking dude.
like he's so dense. It's like he's lower body stomach dense.
Yeah.
So I think that's also a reason why it's just like kind of hard to take him down because his weight is just so low. His weight isn't in his shoulders; it's in his back, hips, and butt. That's where all the weight is, and you just kind of forget how just he's thick and a dense guy. When you see him next to Kaynan, you're like, well, Kainan's the bigger, stronger guy. But
Yeah, and then you see them tie up, and you're like, maybe not.
like I forget, they do the tail of the tape. I'm switching all the way back to the tail of the tape. Yeah, he's 230. Like, he doesn't look 230, but
No, he does not look 230.
right, but he's 230. Right. So yeah, we just finished the match. We went over some stuff. I guess we'll just go into our takeaways. Alrighty, cool with that?
Yeah.
I need to pull up my notes real fast. Yeah. I'll just go into kind of the new wave thing right away because I think that's the tail of the match. The new wave guys have this style of wrestling and grappling, especially in the stand up nowadays, where they're taking people who should not be that good at stand up and they're taking them, teaching them some of the best defensive habits and technical correct habits to have that are very simple to teach someone and using them to an insane effect of nullifying better wrestlers, making them work, and beating better wrestlers on attrition.
Yeah.
And I think it's very smart. I think it's very cool. I think the new wave guys are great people to watch for newbies who want to get decent at wrestling or like protect themselves from wrestling. Because when we're in the gym, there are some people that are better wrestlers than us. And if you want to protect yourself, I would watch some new wave guys because it's very simple.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's very simple, like defensive strategies on their part, right? Like you're saying, like keeping that lead arm down by your lead leg, shooting your collar ties linearly instead of like looping them on, right?
Definitely.
This is like a major reason why Meregali constantly beats him in inside position, because his collar tying hand is just coming in a straight line
Just immediate.
to Kainan's head.
Yeah. Right there. That stance where his lead arm is literally parallel.
Yeah, like literally just letting it hang.
Letting it hang near his knee. And a common thing I'll tell new people if they want to be decent, like at wrestling or protect themselves, I tell them just to cup their kneecap sometimes.
Yeah.
Literally just put a cup on your kneecap. You just put your palm on your kneecap. I mean, he just lets it hang. But yeah, again, also lineal collar ties. And he doesn't reach with his front hand like you were saying before. He reaches with his backhand and then brings his foot.
Then brings his foot up, yeah.
Yes. And that's another thing. One of those beginner tips. Never reach with your front hand.
Yeah.
Just for now. Just for now.
Yeah. As you get better at wrestling, that can happen. But, like, even at this, like high level, obviously this isn't like strictly wrestling, but, it allows him to win the wrestling exchanges by just keeping that defensively sound the entire time.
I'll make there might be a counter argument that this style wouldn't work in a 5-minute match because you might be called for like stalling and stuff like that. But that being said, it's a good starting spot, and they designed this style to work over 15 minutes, over 20 minutes. Like Gordon, all these guys are notoriously known for long match success.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like my big first takeaway is just the wrestling of New Wave and what they're doing. Also with foot sweeps, just to prod.
Yeah, just constantly harassing foot sweeps. Like, not even really expecting any of them to like land and like score a takedown, but like you have to think about it, right? If you get lazy, it will land.
Yeah. And it's, again, one of those things that's a low energy, efficient thing. It's not meant to take someone down. It's just to drain someone.
Yeah.
Get that gas tank down so they can land what they actually want to. All right. I don't know. What else do you wanted to go over?
I mean, I kind of mentioned one of my major takeaways earlier that just kind of like the precision versus volume between the two of these guys, where Kaynan obviously has a very good single leg, is able to finish a single leg, but then kind of because of his unsound wrestling, is never able to go back to that well, right? He blasts into one at the beginning, kind of wrestles up into one a little bit afterwards, and then is never able to latch onto a single the rest of the match, right? And it's largely in part because of how sound Meregali is in his wrestling, where he always has the inside position, so Kaynan is now kind of blocked out of his best takedown. Right?
Yeah, and I find it funny how I find it funny how he also like he never actually does pummel back in for that inside position.
Yeah, he never tries to pummel back in.
He never tries to scoop back in. I don't know why. Even to just a shoulder post. He never even comes in for a shoulder post with the far hand or anything.
Yeah, he never like probes to collar ties. Like it's always just looping over ties, and it's very confusing.
Very frustrating.
Yeah.
To me. I don't know. So yeah, like this was very heavy just on wrestling, this match. It's weird because I wouldn't necessarily call it good or high level wrestling. But still like good things to know. Also, I guess just go over to just again like Meregali's just pressure. We went over it last time. Probably when we get more episodes in, you'll realize how much we actually find out we repeat ourselves in this, but we're just reiterating the amount of pressure that you have to do to exhaust someone's guard and put pressure on them, or else nothing's going to happen. You're just going to let a guard player play guard, and that you don't want to do that ever.
Yeah.
So like he's constantly just putting his hips on Kaynan. Um,
Yeah, if you notice in this sequence when he smashes him down into butterfly, that he immediately sprawls his hips, puts heavy forward pressure on him. Like he's not like getting grips and like kind of deciding like, oh, I don't want to play into butterfly, I don't want to go around. He's immediately okay, I'm going in.
yeah. And we talked about this last time. Pressure in, and where are his hands? They're free, right? But they're posting on the mat. Like they don't have to always be on your opponent.
Yeah, because his hips are so heavy, and his legs are kind of sprawled out here. He's able to use his hands to pummel around and try to get to different grips.
And just this explosive movement here that Kaynan uses. There's a lot of energy.
Yeah, a lot of energy to just leg extend a 230-pound man in the
Yeah.
air. And Meregali just accepts it and resets.
And and this is just because of who Meregali is too, and then being a jiu-jitsu athlete, the more you do it, the more isometric strong you get, and then the less explosive you get just over time. So your explosive movements are just going to be more inefficient over time. So like here where he's exploding, trying to grab grips on Meregali, get this leg extended, I guarantee this hamstring curl strength is otherworldly, and I don't think he's ever getting that foot because he's very strong. And that's what he does all day. Right? So he's not going to pull that leg towards him. And again, Meregali's just posting on the mat here. Again, I know.
Yeah, literally just puts his hand on the mat like, okay, you want that leg, I'm going to put weight over here. You can't have it.
I'm just going to hamstring curl while you try and pull on it. And I'm just going to be on top of you because he's just winning this. And it's a common thing where in jiu-jitsu coaches will tell you that you don't want to put your hands on the mat because it makes your hands vulnerable. But not putting your hands on the mat, you're just going to get swept. You're just going to get swept. Learn the rules to just break them. At some point, you got to start breaking them. And this is like one of those big rules that I think we over teach new people. Like, don't put your hands on the mat. No, keep your balance. Keep your hands on the mat. Even in a fight, I'm going to tell you to stay on top. Keep your hands on the mat. Also, it's true in MMA too. Keep your balance. Stay on top. Here, this is something I actually want to get better at too. What is this called? This pass again? Is it dope? Dope pass? Dope mount? Or is it a leg drag?
It's kind of like a...
I forget what Damian
like
Maia calls it.
The two of them, yeah.
But that's what Damian Maia does a lot. It's one of my favorite ways to pass. But also it's just oppressive to be in. But yeah, I really don't have much more to go over. I mean, we can talk about just final thoughts of these athletes. I think Meregali is a very talented guy. I think he's getting better in Nogi. I think he's going to proceed to get better. His gi footage, he's probably the best in gi right now. His development from being a strict guard player to now being a top heavy pressure grappler, even in gi, is pretty cool to watch.
Yeah.
He's just smother tapping people, just plays guard, gets a sweep, and then just pressure passes and smothers people. Like, it's pretty amazing to watch, and because he's a big, mentally strong, like stubborn person, and that's probably what makes him such a good athlete, is just how stubborn he is mentally. So yeah, like I think the sky's the limit for him, really. I think he's going to be a threat to anyone heavyweight. Anyone is 99 heavyweight, or is it what's?
There's 99 and 99 plus.
So he has no problems in either. I don't think.
Yeah, no. I mean, Kaynan was the ACC champion in 99, and he just kind of walked over him.
Yeah.
So
he just made him look like he wasn't on his level.
Yeah. And there is kind of an interesting thing here of what weight class he does at ADCC. Because of the fact that Gordon has a lot of tummy issues. And,
you got a tummy ache.
Can't eat any food, apparently. Will they switch weight classes.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I. My personal opinion. I don't think Gordon competes at ADCC this year. Or is it next year? Technically, is it this year?
No, it's this year. Yeah.
I don't think he competes this year.
Really, even for the super fight?
No, I don't. No, I don't think so. Listen, I know it sounds bad, but why would you fight Yuri Simos? That's my honest opinion. No offense to Yuri, but I don't see any benefit of doing a super fight versus Yuri Simos.
I've seen zero promotion for that.
Yeah. What happens? You walk through him, no promotion. He beats you. There is no benefit, and you're competing for how much? Like $50,000 for your super fight or something like that. Like, he makes that much money just sitting on his butt at home with instruction.
More than that. Yeah.
Way more than that.
Way
Like, just
more
off
than
his name, sponsorships. So, like, to me, I don't see Gordon competing at ADCC. It just makes no sense to me. It literally just makes no sense. So, I mean, interesting enough, I think, I don't know what happens at ADCC, but I don't think Gordon competes. And I think Meregali is being set up to win gold in a division. I don't know if he'll do absolute or what, but I mean, he's very good. I don't, but unlike Mika, how we were making grand claims about Mika, I wouldn't make the same claims about Meregali, but he's very good.
Yeah, he's very, very good.
Like, he's one of the best on the planet. I can't reliably say though that, he's going to just walk through everyone. Right.
Yeah.
But no, he's good. He's very good. He's one of my favorites. Kaynan, I don't know. We'll probably see this match again.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that they had competed 4 times already. I imagine they'll compete many more times.
Well, because they were the new guys coming up in like the Leandro Lowe, Buchecha, Kaynan, Meregali. All these guys were just competing in gi, right? So yeah, I don't know what's next for Kaynan. He probably is going to go to ADCC. He's doing ADCC next year. He's the champion. He might just go up a weight class. I wouldn't be surprised.
So, do you think they both go up a weight class?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because they're big boys.
They are big. They're massive.
They're very big boys. Like I've been surprised every time that Kaynan makes 99.
It is crazy to think about, and it's also funny to think about that they both right now weigh the same as Nicky Rod.
Yeah,
Nicky Rod's like 230. So, yeah, like they're technically smaller heavyweights, but they have no problem at heavyweight. And yeah, I don't really have much more to go over unless you can think of anything.
No, I think it's about everything I wanted to say.
Alrighty, so we did do a video portion of the podcast, so you can watch that on YouTube, or you can try to follow along by watching the YouTube video in the link. Right now, we're spitballing and coming up with ideas for Patreon for exclusive events and stuff like that, chat rooms, everything like that. You can send us messages. Even it's not exclusive now, but if you really have any questions, just DM the Instagram the Jiu Jitsu Journal Pod. Just message, DM the Instagram. We'll answer your questions, do the best we can, especially now because we don't have the most amount of traffic. So it's like we can get to your questions easy. Recommendations on what matches we should cover next. But in the future we're looking to do live episodes where you can watch live with us the match and then even ask your own questions, point stuff out to us, and we can talk about it. But all things in the works for you guys. Thank you for listening, and have a good one.
Yeah, thank you.